Spirit and really just go, word of knowledge, put it up. Okay, these are the words Moses spoke to all Israel in the wilderness east of the Jordan. That is in the Arabah opposite Suf between Paran, Tophel, Laban, Hazarath, and Dizahab. It takes 11 days to go from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by the Mount Seir road. I want you to see that. It's in the Bible. Everyone say 11 days. Okay, next verse. In the 40th year. I'm just putting it out there. We could actually stop right there and I could speak the next 6 weeks on that. It takes 11 days in the 40th year. How much of our Christianity is exactly there? What should only take 11 days? 40 years later, we're doing laps around the same old mountains, the same old issues. I was abused for 12 years. I was left in a hospital unnamed and unwanted. I did grow up in poverty. I did grow up marginalized. But the fact is, I am now 50 years old and 2 days, and I still take presents if you want. And so I am now 50 years old and 2 days. So nothing will ever change the fact that I was abused for 12 years, nothing. The blood of Jesus does not give you amnesia, just in case you're wondering. So it's not that your past didn't happen. But the blood of Jesus does give you a life beyond your past. And so I could have been here at 50, still walking around going, it was so bad. And man, you don't know what it was like to grow up in Australia 50 years ago, to be left in a hospital. I really don't remember it, but it was really, really so bad. And I was just so rejected and it was so painful. And I'm still so full of unforgiveness because I don't know who my mother is. And I'm still so bitter towards all those guys that abused me. And because of that, I hate men and I'm going to make my husband pay for something he never did to me. And I'm going to be a psychotic mother because, you know, my girls just deserve all my dysfunction because you don't know what happened. I was a victim and this happened to me 50 years ago and it just wasn't right. I'm getting dizzy. I'm going to stop. Okay. So, and then it just didn't, and we go round and round. You don't know what that boss did to me. You don't know what they said to me at that church back there. You don't know what, it's not my fault. That teacher said that I was not able to do this and that parent said this, and 50 years later, in the case of the children of Israel, 40 years later, murmuring, grumbling, complaining. You don't know how bad it was. You don't know what happened to us. And then we'll sing songs of redemption and songs of the power of the cross and songs of the power of the resurrection, but we don't believe them because we're still doing our same old laps around our same old mountains. And God says, hang on a minute. It's supposed to be 11 days. Yes, there was pain. And no one is denying a process of restoration. Nobody. But it should be 11 days to come out of the slavery of Egypt to walk into the freedom and the promise of Canaan. 40 years later. 40 years later. I wonder what your 40 years later is. What bitterness, what unforgiveness, what lust, what greed, what envy, what pride, what addiction, what pain, what suffering, what hurt, what is it? Still same old mountains, same old issue. Same old thing going on. Sat under 1,000 sermons, but it's still the same old thing. And you just keep going. And I'll tell you one thing, by the time we finish this, whoever has had like these 50-year issues, your friend is going to turn next to you. And when you try to say, you know, like, go on about that issue again, they're going to go, look, man, she got over it. Maybe you could too. Maybe you need to get a new issue. But anyway, so the thing is that maybe that it needs to be, we need to get over the fact that, you know, something happened 40 years ago or something happened 50 years ago. I was abused, that nothing's ever going to change that. But the fact is I'm 50 years old now. So here, do the math. I have not been being abused for 38 years. Why would I allow 12 years to define my whole life when I've not been being abused for a whole lot longer than I have been being abused? Why not talk about the redemptive power of Jesus Christ setting me free and giving a life beyond my past? Why keep talking about the other? I'm not saying deny what happened, but it doesn't have power over me. What Jesus did on the cross does. And for some of us, you've come to church this morning because it's time to make what Jesus did for you bigger than what they did to you. It is time to make what Jesus did for you at Calvary bigger than what those people said to you. Some of you need to make God bigger. You go, what do you mean, Christine? Theologically, how do you make God bigger? God is as big as he ever needs to be. God is as big as he is ever going to be. God is omnipotent. God is omniscient. God is omnipresent. You're right. But the God of the universe is made big or small in the hearts of his people. So how big is your God? How big is your God? What is still going on in your